The sky above Kelthera turned dark with ships. Not friendly ships. Not allies coming to help. These were the Vraks, and everyone knew what that meant. Death. Thelios stood at the window of the council tower, his wings trembling. He was young for a scientist, barely into his third cycle of life. Below him, the crystalline city sparkled in the fading light. Beautiful spires reached toward the sky. Gardens filled with glowing flowers covered the streets. Millions of his people lived down there. Families, children, artists, and teachers and builders. Soon it would all be gone. The shields are at 15%, someone said behind him. The voice was empty of hope. Elder Mirith, the oldest member of the council, placed a gentle hand on Thelios's shoulder. Her wings were silver with age, her eyes sad but calm. "We did our best," she said softly. "We lived well. We hurt no one. That matters," Thelios wanted to believe her. The Kelthera had always chosen peace. They built instead of destroyed. They helped other races with technology and medicine. They never wanted weapons or wars. They thought kindness would be enough. They were wrong. The Vraks did not care about kindness. The Vraks only hungered. They moved from world to world like a plague of insects, eating everything. They destroyed the Halcyons 3 months ago. The Deltheri fell last week. Now it was Kelthera's turn. "Our fleet?" Thelios asked, though he knew the answer. "Gone," Mirith said. "Every ship. Every brave soul who tried to defend us." Through the window, Thelios could see the Vrak ships getting closer. They looked like massive beetles, their shells black and cruel. Smaller ships poured from them like drops of poison. Thousands of them. Tens of thousands. The Keltheran defense satellites fired their last shots. Bright beams of energy cut through space. They destroyed maybe 50 Vrak ships. But for every ship that fell, 100 more came. The satellites exploded one by one. The Vrak's weapons tore them apart. 20 minutes until they reached the city, someone reported. It was Commander Vex, head of what little security forces they had. He was not a warrior. None of them were. The Kelthera had not fought a war in 1,000 years. "Send everyone to the underground shelters," Elder Mirith ordered. "All citizens must." The building shook. Explosions bloomed across the city's edge. The Vraks had begun their attack. Thelios ran to his station. If these were his last moments, he would do something useful. His fingers moved across the crystal controls, bringing up the long-range communication system. "What are you doing?" Vex asked. "Sending a message," Thelios said. "To everyone. Anyone who can hear." "No one is coming," Mirith said gently. "Our allies abandoned us. The other races are too far away or too frightened." "I know," Thelios said. His voice cracked. "But I have to try. Someone should know we existed. Someone should know we tried to live." He activated the transmitter. It would send his words across space in all directions. Maybe no one would hear it for years. Maybe no one would care. But he had to try. Thelios spoke into the recorder. His voice was steady even though his hands shook. "This is Thelios of Kelthera. If anyone can hear this message, please listen. We are the Kelthera. We are a people of peace. We build beautiful things. We love learning and music and helping others. We never wanted war. We never hurt anyone." Another explosion shook the tower. Closer this time. Through the window he could see Vrak's dropships landing in the outer districts. Dark shapes poured out of them. Millions of creatures, each one built to kill. "The Vraks are here," Thelios continued. "We tried to fight them. We tried to defend our home, but we are not warriors. We do not know how to hate or destroy. In minutes we will be gone. Our cities will fall. Our people will die. This message is all that will remain." He paused. Screams echoed from the streets below. The Vraks were fast, so terribly fast. "To anyone listening," Thelios said, and now tears ran down his face. "We are the Kelthera. We are about to die, but we lived with love. We lived with hope. We chose peace even when it meant our end. Remember us. Please remember that we tried to be good." He ended the transmission and sent it out into the void of space. The radio waves carried his words away from Kelthera, traveling at the speed of light towards stars he would never see. "Come," Mirith said. "We should be with our people. In the shelters. Together." The council members moved toward the exit, but Thelios stayed at the window. He could not look away from his city. The Vrak swarmed through the streets now. He saw Keltherans trying to run. The creatures caught them so easily. The shield barrier over the city flickered. Then it died. "Thelios, please," Mirith called from the doorway. He started to turn away from the window. But then he saw something. High above in the darkening sky, lights, not Vrax ships. These lights were different. They burned like falling stars. What is that? He whispered. The lights grew brighter and brighter. They were not stars. They were falling toward the planet, toward the city, dozens of them, hundreds of them. The other council members stopped and stared. The objects came down like meteors wrapped in fire. They screamed through the atmosphere, leaving trails of flame across the sky. They fell faster than Vrax ships, more violent than any weapon Thelios had ever seen. Are they bombs? Vex asked, his voice filled with terror. Are the Vrax destroying everything? But Thelios knew they were not Vrax weapons. These objects had purpose. They were aimed. Some fell into the streets. Some crashed into the parks. One landed in the plaza directly in front of the council tower. The impact shook the ground. Dust and smoke rose from the crater. What is happening? Mirith breathed. Through the smoke, something moved. The object that had crashed was not a bomb. It was a pod. Metal scorched from the heat of entry, but intact. Panels on its side blew outward with explosive force. A figure emerged from the smoke. It walked on two legs like a Keltheran, but it was shorter, thicker, covered in armor that looked like it was made from the metal of warships. Lights glowed on the armor. Weapons hung from every surface. A helmet covered its face, dark and featureless. The figure raised something in its hands. A weapon. It fired at a group of approaching Vrax. The sound was like thunder. Vrax bodies exploded into pieces. More figures climbed from the pod. 5 of them. All armored. All armed. They moved with purpose and speed. Then a voice boomed across the city. It spoke in Keltheran language, though the accent was strange. Keltheran people, stay in your shelters. We are here to help. Thelios grabbed the edge of the window. His legs felt weak. Who are they? Vex whispered. More pods were opening across the city. Hundreds of armored figures emerged. They formed lines. They aimed their weapons, and they began to fight the Vrax. For the first time since the invasion began, the Vrax were not advancing. They were being pushed back. I do not know, Thelios said, watching the warriors cut through the Vrax swarm. But I think someone heard our message. Impossible, Mirith said. We sent that message only minutes ago. No one could have reached us so fast, but there they were. Unknown warriors falling from the sky, fighting for a people they had never met, dying to protect strangers. And as Thelios watched them fight, he realized something that filled him with both wonder and fear. These warriors were not like the Kelthera. They knew war. They understood violence. They fought with a fury that matched the Vrax. Whatever these beings were, they had come to save his people, or doom had simply taken a different form. The armored warriors moved like nothing Thelios had ever seen. They were fast but deliberate. Every movement had purpose. Every shot found its target. The Vrax that had seemed unstoppable moments ago now fell in waves. Thelios pressed his face against the window, trying to understand what he was seeing. One of the warriors stood in the plaza below, surrounded by Vrax. There must have been 50 of the creatures closing in. The warrior did not run. Instead, it raised both arms and fired 2 weapons at once. Thunder echoed through the streets. Vrax bodies flew backward. When the warrior's weapon stopped firing, it pulled out a long blade from its back. The blade glowed with blue energy. 3 Vrax leaped at the warrior from different directions. The blade moved in a blur. All 3 creatures fell in pieces. They fight like demons, Vex whispered. No, Elder Mirith said softly. Demons destroy everything. These beings are protecting us. More warriors emerged from pods across the city. Thelios counted quickly, maybe 500, against millions of Vrax. The numbers did not make sense. This should have been a massacre, but the warriors were not losing. They formed groups and moved through the streets with clear purpose. They set up weapons that fired streams of energy. They threw objects that exploded and killed dozens of Vrax at once. Some warriors carried massive guns that needed 2 hands to hold. The weapons fired projectiles that punched through Vrax armor like it was paper. A new voice came over the communication system. Female. Calm, but commanding. This is Captain Sarah, Shen of the 3rd Orbital Strike Division, Terran Armed Forces. All Keltheran citizens must remain in shelters until we secure the area. We have medical teams standing by. You are not alone anymore, Terran, Thelios said. I have never heard of that race. Check the database, Mirith ordered. Thelios pulled up the Galactic Species Archive on his console. He searched for Terran. The results appeared. Here, he said. Terrans, also called humans. From a planet called Earth, they are a developing race. They only achieved faster than light travel 20 years ago. They are classified as extremely aggressive. How far away is their world? Vex asked. Thelios checked. 6 light years from here. That is impossible, Mireth said. We sent the distress call only minutes ago, but they were here. Somehow these humans had come. Through the window, Thelios watched the battle spread across his city. The humans pushed forward street by street. Their tactics were complex. Some warriors would fire from protected positions while others advanced. They used the buildings for cover. They set traps for the Vrax. When Vrax attacked from one direction, humans would appear from another and strike from behind. The Vrax were not stupid. They adapted quickly to new threats, but the humans adapted faster. One human warrior climbed onto a rooftop. It carried a long weapon with a scope. Thelios watched as the warrior took aim and fired. Far across the city, a large Vrax commander's head exploded. The warrior fired again. Another commander fell. Without leaders, the Vrax near those areas became confused and disorganized. Other humans took advantage immediately. They rushed forward and cleared the streets. I need to get closer, Thelios said suddenly. I need to help them. You are a scientist, not a warrior, Vex said. Exactly. I know this city. I know the systems, the tunnels, the weak points in buildings. They need information. Before anyone could stop him, Thelios ran for the stairs. He descended as fast as his wings would carry him, dropping down level after level. He could hear the battle clearly now. Weapons firing, explosions, the horrible screams of dying Virax. He reached the ground floor and pushed through the doors. The air outside smelled like smoke and chemicals and blood. Bodies of Vrax covered the plaza. Some still moved, trying to crawl away. Human warriors stood in defensive positions, their weapons aimed outward. One human turned toward Thelios. The warrior raised its weapon, then lowered it. Civilian, the human said. Its voice came through a speaker in the helmet. The voice was male, young. Sir, you need to get to a shelter. This area is not secure. I am Thelios, council scientist. I can help you. I know the city. The human warrior paused. Then it touched the side of its helmet. Captain, I have a local here. Says he is a scientist and knows the city. Orders? A moment passed. Then the female voice from before spoke. Bring him to the command post. We need all the intel we can get. The human warrior gestured. Follow me, sir. Stay close and stay low. Thelios followed the human through the plaza. He had to run to keep up. The human moved at a speed that seemed impossible for a being wearing such heavy armor. They entered a building that had been converted into a command center. Human warriors moved everywhere, setting up equipment and checking weapons. Some removed their helmets. Thelios finally saw human faces. They looked similar to Keltherans in some ways. 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth. But their features were different, harder. Their eyes held something that frightened Thelios. Not cruelty, determination. The absolute certainty that they would win or die trying. A woman stood at a table covered with a glowing map of the city. She was older than the others, with short dark hair and scars on her face. She wore armor like the others, but no helmet. When she saw Thelios, she nodded. Captain Sarah Chen, she said. You are Thelios? Yes, Captain. Thank you for coming. How did you... We picked up your distress call, Chen said. We were at Outpost Meridian running training exercises. We had one ship ready for immediate deployment. My commander gave the order and we dropped everything and came. But that is 6 light years away. The message was sent only 32 minutes ago, Chen finished. We have fast ships and faster drop pods. When someone calls for help, we answer. Thelios felt his throat tighten. You came for strangers? You risk your lives for people you do not know? Chen looked at him with those hard, determined eyes. That is what we do. Now I need your help. Show me the city layout. Where are the shelters? Where are the weak points the Vrax might exploit? Thelios moved to the table. The map showed the entire city in 3 dimensions. He pointed to locations and explained. The underground shelter network, the power distribution centers, the transportation tunnels. The Vrax will try to reach the shelters, he said. If they get into the tunnels, we will not let them, Chen said firmly. Marcus, take your squad and secure these tunnel entrances. Plant charges at each one. If the Vrax try to get through, collapse the tunnels. A large human warrior stepped forward. Yes, ma'am. We will hold them. More reports came in. The humans had secured the central districts. Vrax casualties were massive, but more Vrax kept coming. They have millions more on those ships, Chen said, studying the map. We are buying time. But we cannot win this battle on the ground alone. We need orbital support. When will your ship arrive? Thelios asked. Chen's face tightened. 4 hours. Maybe 5. Can we hold that long? Chen looked at him. We will hold as long as we need to. That is what humans do. We do not quit. An explosion shook the building. Dust fell from the ceiling. Vraks are pushing hard on the eastern perimeter, a warrior reported. Send reinforcements, Chen ordered. Pull from the quiet sectors. Captain, all sectors are hot. We do not have reinforcements, Chen looked at the map. At the red markers showing Vraks positions. At the blue markers showing human positions. So few blue markers. So many red, she straightened. Then we hold with what we have. Every warrior fights. No retreat. No surrender. The warriors around her nodded. Not one of them looked afraid. They knew they were outnumbered. They knew they might die. But they did not care. Thelios watched them prepare to go back into battle. These humans were strange. They were violent. But they had traveled across the stars to save his people. They fought without hesitation against impossible odds. Why? Thelios asked quietly. Why do you do this? Chen looked at him. For a moment her hard expression softened. Because someone has to, she said. The galaxy has too many predators and not enough protectors. We decided a long time ago which one we would be. Another explosion. Closer this time. Go, Chen told her warriors. Show them what humans can do. They moved out. Thelios stayed by the map, his hands shaking. Outside, the battle raged on. These humans had come from above like falling stars. They had come to face doom itself, and somehow, impossibly, Thelios began to hope they might actually win. The battle had been going for 3 hours. Thelios stayed in the command center, watching the map and listening to the communication channels. What he heard both amazed and terrified him. The humans were everywhere. Squad leaders called out positions and targets. Wounded warriors refused to leave the fight. When ammunition ran low, they switched to backup weapons. When those ran out, they used knives and even their armored fists. But there were too many Vraks. For every 100 they killed, 200 more landed. Eastern sector is being overrun, a voice crackled over the radio. We need support now. Hold your position, Captain Chen replied. Help is coming, but Thelios could see the map. There was no help to send. Every human was already fighting. Some were holding positions against thousands of Vraks with only 3 or 4 warriors. A human stumbled into the command center. His armor was scorched and dented. One arm hung limp. Blood leaked from a crack in his helmet. Captain, the northern tunnel entrance is compromised. Vraks broke through. They are heading for Shelter 7. Chen's face went pale. How many civilians in Shelter 7? 3,000, Thelios whispered. Mostly families with children. Chen grabbed her weapon. I am going myself. Who can I take? Captain, you cannot leave command, her second officer said. Then come with me, Chen snapped. Thelios, you have command. If anything happens to us, keep coordinating the defense. I do not know how. You will figure it out. You are smart enough. Chen and 5 other humans ran out. Thelios stood frozen at the command table. He was not a warrior. He was barely an adult. How could he command these fierce human soldiers? But he had no choice. He studied the map. The blue markers were spreading thin. Some winked out as warriors fell. The red markers multiplied like a disease. This is Squad Leader Webb. A voice came over the channel. We are surrounded in the commercial district. Approximately 10,000 Vraks closing in. We are down to 30% ammunition. Thelios recognized the name. Marcus Webb, the large warrior who had taken his squad to defend the tunnels. Squad Leader Webb, can you retreat? Thelios asked, his voice shaking. Negative. There is a shelter behind us with civilians. If we fall back, the Vraks will reach them in minutes. How many warriors do you have? 8? Well, 7.5. Jenkins lost his legs, but he can still shoot. 8 humans against 10,000 Vraks. It was suicide. Help is... Thelios started to say, then stopped. There was no help. He looked at the map desperately. Then he saw something. Squad Leader Webb, there is a maintenance tunnel 50 meters to your west. It leads away from the Vraks. What about the civilians in the shelter? The tunnel connects to the shelter system. You can reach them through the underground. Webb was silent for a moment. So we run and hope we reach the civilians before the Vraks do? Yes. No, Webb said firmly. We hold here. If we run, the Vraks will just follow us underground. Then everyone dies. We make our stand here. You will die. Thelios said. Maybe. But we will take a lot of these bugs with us. Web out, Thelios wanted to scream. These humans were crazy. They chose death over retreat. They threw their lives away for people they did not know, but they were buying time. Every minute they fought was another minute the civilians stayed safe. More bad news came in. The western perimeter collapsed. The southern defense line was holding, but barely. The Vraks were adapting to human tactics. They started attacking from multiple directions at once. They used their numbers to overwhelm positions. Then something worse happened. Captain, we have a massive energy signature in orbit. One of the human technicians reported. It is the Vraks mothership. They are powering weapons. Chen's voice came through, breathless from fighting. What kind of weapons? Orbital bombardment. They are targeting the city. Thelios felt his heart sink. The Vraks were willing to destroy everything. If they could not take the city, they would burn it from space. Time until they fire. Chen asked, 10 minutes, where is our ship? Still 2 hours out. Silence filled the command center. 2 hours. They could not hold for 2 more hours. And even if they could, the orbital bombardment would kill everyone in minutes. Chen appeared in the doorway. Her face was covered in dust and blood. Not all of it was Vrak's blood. Did we save Shelter 7? Thelios asked. For now, Chen said. She looked at the orbital data. Her expression did not change, but Thelios saw something in her eyes. Not fear, sadness. She knew this was the end. We need to destroy that mothership, Chen said. How? Asked her second officer. We are infantry. We cannot fight ships. Chen stared at the map. Thelios could see her thinking, calculating, planning. Then her eyes widened slightly. Their ground command center, she said. Where is it? Thelios pulled up the data. The Vraks had landed a massive bioship in the northern district. It coordinated all the ground forces. There, he said, pointing. If we destroy it, what happens to the Vraks on the ground? They will become disorganized, confused. The Vraks are a hive species. Without central command, they lose coordination. And the mothership? It might stop the bombardment to re-establish control, Thelios said. Or it might fire anyway. Chen nodded slowly. It is a chance. Better than waiting to die. She activated her communication channel. All units, this is Captain Chen. We are going on the offensive. Target is the Vraks ground command in the northern district. Every available warrior converge on these coordinates. We are going to cut the head off the snake. Captain, that is suicide, someone said. That sector has over 1 million Vraks. I know, Chen said calmly. But it is our only shot. Who is with me? Every human voice answered. I, Captain. Ma'am, I am coming too, Thelios said. Chen looked at him. You are not a soldier. No, but I know the city. I know the quickest routes, and he paused. You came to save my people. Let me help save yours. Chen studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Get him armor, light stuff, and a weapon. The humans moved fast. They strapped protective gear onto Thelios. It was not full armor like they wore, but it was better than nothing. They gave him a small pistol. Point and squeeze, a human showed him. It will kick. Do not drop it, they gathered outside. 50 humans. That was all who could be spared. Every other warrior was holding defensive positions around the shelters. Chen stood before them. The command center is 3 kilometers from here. Through the heaviest Vraks concentration. Some of us will not make it. Maybe none of us will. But if we succeed, we save this city. We save these people. That is worth the cost. The humans checked their weapons. They did not look afraid. They looked ready. For Earth, one human said. For humanity, another replied. For those who cannot fight for themselves, Chen added. She looked at Thelios. And for our new friends, they moved out. The city was a nightmare. Bodies everywhere. Buildings collapsed. Fires burning. And Vraks. So many Vraks. The humans cut through them like a blade. They used every trick, every tactic. Thelios stayed in the center of the group, protected. He called out directions. Warned of ambushes, showed them shortcuts through buildings. The Vraks realized what was happening. They threw everything at the humans. The attack became a running battle. Humans fell. Thelios saw warriors take wounds that should have been fatal, but keep fighting through will alone. They were halfway to the command center when Marcus Webb's voice came over the radio. Captain, our position is being overrun. We are out of ammunition, fixing bayonets. Hold on, Marcus, Chen said. We are almost there. No time, Captain. They will reach the shelter in minutes. We are going to rush them. Buy a few more minutes, Marcus. That is an honor, ma'am. Tell everyone back home that we held the line. Web out. The channel went silent. Thelios looked at Chen. Tears ran down her face, but she kept moving forward. Kept fighting. We do not stop, she said through gritted teeth. We finish this. For Marcus. For all of them. They ran toward the Vrax command center. Toward certain death. Because that was what humans did. They kept fighting. The Vrax command center looked like a massive insect made of metal and flesh. It rose 20 stories high, pulsing with sick green light. Thousands of Vrax crawled around it like ants protecting their queen. Captain Chen and her group crouched behind a collapsed building, studying their target. They were down to 38 warriors. 12 had fallen on the way here. Thelios had seen things he would never forget. Humans fighting with broken bodies. Warriors using their last breaths to take down one more enemy. We cannot fight through all of them, someone said. We do not need to, Chen replied. She pointed at the base of the command center. See that opening? That is the main entrance. We fight our way there, get inside, plant charges, and blow the whole thing. What about getting out? Another warrior asked. Chen did not answer. She did not need to. Everyone understood. This was a one-way mission. Thelios felt his hands shaking. He was going to die here. In a few minutes, he would be dead. He had never fought anyone. He had never wanted to hurt anything. But these humans had come for his people. They had sacrificed everything. He could do no less. I am ready, Thelios said quietly. Chen looked at him. You do not have to come inside. Stay here. Provide cover fire. No, Thelios said, surprised by the strength in his own voice. My people are worth saving. You showed us that. Let me prove I believe it too. Chen smiled. It was sad and proud at the same time. You are braver than you know, Thelios. She turned to her warriors. This is it. When we go hard and fast. Do not stop for anything. Not for wounded. Not for each other. Get those charges planted, understood? Yes, ma'am. Chen took a deep breath. For Earth. For humanity. For everyone who needs protecting. Let us show these bugs what humans do when pushed. They ran. The Vrax saw them immediately. The swarm turned as one, screeching their horrible war cries. They came from every direction. The humans fired without stopping. Their weapons roared. Vrax fell in waves, but more replaced them instantly. A Vrax leaped at Thelios. He raised his small pistol and fired. The weapon kicked hard, almost breaking his wrist. But the shot hit. The Vrax's head exploded. Thelios felt sick, but he kept moving. They fought through the first line. Then the second. Human warriors fell. Thelios saw a woman go down, 3 Vrax on top of her. She detonated a grenade, taking them all with her. The entrance was close now. Just 50 meters, 40, 30. A massive Vrax warrior, bigger than the others, charged at Chen. She fired, but her weapon clicked empty. The creature's claws reached for her throat. Thelios shot it. Once, twice, 3 times. The Vrax staggered. Chen pulled out her knife and drove it into the creature's brain. Thanks, she gasped. They reached the entrance. Only 20 humans were still standing. They burst inside the command center. The interior was worse than outside. The walls were made of living tissue. Vrax covered every surface. But these were not warriors. These were workers, technicians, the ones who controlled the swarm. Kill everything that moves, Chen ordered. Find the central core. They pushed deeper into the structure. The Vrax inside were not built for combat. The humans cut through them easily, but time was running out. The orbital bombardment could begin any moment. They reached a massive chamber. In the center floated a brain the size of a house. It pulsed with light and energy. Cables of flesh and metal connected it to thousands of terminals. That is it, Thelios said. The command brain. Destroy it, and the swarm loses all coordination. Chen and her demolition experts started placing charges around the brain. The explosive pack stuck to the organic surface. The human worked fast but carefully. One mistake and they would blow up without taking out the brain. We need 5 minutes to set everything properly, the demolition expert said. You have 3, Chen replied. The Vraks outside realized what was happening. They poured into the building. The remaining humans formed a defensive line at the chamber's only entrance. This is it, one warrior said. Make every shot count. The Vraks came like a living wave. The humans met them with fire and steel. Thelios stood with them, his pistol feeling tiny in his hands. He fired at anything that moved. He did not know if he hit anything. He just kept pulling the trigger. A Vraks broke through. It killed a human warrior before anyone could stop it. Then another broke through, then 3 more. The defensive line was collapsing. Charges are set, the demolition expert yelled. We need to get out. There is no out, Chen said. She looked at her remaining warriors. 9 of them left. 9 out of 50. But we can still complete the mission. Everyone fall back behind the pillars. When the Vraks get close, we blow it all. Captain, the blast will kill us too, someone said. I know. But it will kill every Vraks in a kilometer radius. The ones outside will be leaderless. Your friends holding the shelters will have a chance. The warriors nodded. Not one argued. Not one hesitated. They moved back into the chamber. The Vraks followed, hundreds of them flooding through the entrance. Chen held the detonator. She waited until the chamber was full of enemies. Then Thelios heard something. A sound from outside. A rumbling that shook the entire building. What is that? Someone asked. Through the entrance, through the mass of Vraks, Thelios saw light. Bright, pure light. And then he heard voices. Keltharan voices. This is Elder Mirith to all humans. Hold your position. Help is coming. What? Chen breathed. The building shook again. Explosions echoed from outside. But these were not Vraks weapons. These were defense satellites. Keltharan defense satellites. We found them, Mireth's voice continued. The ancient weapons our ancestors built. We swore never to use them. But you showed us that sometimes peace must be defended with force. We are activating them now. Through the command center's walls, which were partly transparent, Thelios saw streaks of light cutting across the sky. Energy beams from orbit struck the Vraks forces outside. Ships exploded. Dropships fell burning from the sky. The satellites are targeting the Vraks mothership, Mireth said. It is heavily damaged. And I have more news. The human ship Indomitable has arrived early. They are engaging the remaining Vraks fleet. Chen laughed. It was a sound of pure relief and joy. Marcus, do you copy? Did you hear that? Static. Then a weak voice. We heard it, Captain. We are still here, barely. But we held them. Tears ran down Chen's face. You held them, Marcus, you magnificent warrior, you held them. The Vraks in the chamber realized something was wrong. Their coordination was already breaking down. Some turned to flee. Others attacked randomly. Blow the charges anyway, Chen ordered. Make sure they cannot re-establish command. She pressed the detonator. The explosion tore through the command center. The humans had taken cover behind structural pillars. The blast wave knocked them down, but the pillars held. The Vraks were not so lucky. The entire swarm in the chamber died instantly. When the dust settled, Chen and her warriors stumbled out of the ruined building. Thelios followed, his ears ringing, his body covered in wounds he did not remember getting. Outside, the battlefield had changed. The Vraks were scattered, confused, leaderless. Some fought, some fled. Some just stood still, waiting for orders that would never come. Human dropships descended from the sky. Fresh troops poured out along with medical teams. The human warship, Indomitable, hung in orbit like a guardian angel, its weapons picking off the last Vrak ships. Chen fell to her knees. We did it. Stars above, we actually did it. Thelios sat beside her. You saved us. All of you. No, Chen said softly. We saved each other. Your people found the strength to fight. That is what mattered. Keltharan medical teams arrived, along with human medics. They started treating the wounded. There were so many wounded. Thelios looked at the destroyed city. at the bodies covering the streets, at the burning buildings. The cost had been terrible, but they were alive. Against all odds, they had survived. And it was because warriors had fallen from the sky when all hope seemed lost. 3 days after the battle, Thelios walked through the ruins of his city. Keltheran workers cleared rubble. Engineers worked to restore power. Families searched for lost loved ones. The streets that once sparkled with crystal towers were now scarred with craters and burn marks, but people were alive. Children played in temporary shelters. Elders told stories of the battle. Artists had already begun sketching memorials on walls. The Kelthera had survived. Thelios found Captain Chen at the military field hospital. She stood outside a medical tent, watching human doctors work alongside Keltheran healers. Her armor was gone. She wore simple clothes now. Without the armor, she looked smaller. More human, Captain, Thelios said softly. Chen turned. Her face was tired. Lines around her eyes showed she had not slept much. Thelios, how are you holding up? I am alive, he said. Because of you and your warriors. Chen looked away. We lost a lot of good people. 333 dead. Another 112 wounded. 2/3 of my force. Thelios felt his throat tighten. I am sorry. Do not be, Chen said. They knew what they were signing up for. Every one of them volunteered. They wanted to be here. Why? Thelios asked. I still do not understand. Why would anyone volunteer to die for strangers? Chen was quiet for a moment. She watched a human medic treating a Keltheran child's burns. The medic worked with gentle hands, speaking softly to calm the frightened child. Because someone has to, Chen finally said. The galaxy is full of predators like the Vraks, races that take and destroy. If the good people do not stand up to them, then evil wins. It is that simple. But the cost is always high, Chen agreed. Every warrior in that tent knows they might die on the next mission. But they also know that their sacrifice means something. It means children get to grow up. Families stay together. Beautiful civilizations like yours continue to exist. She turned to face Thelios fully. Your people broadcast a message. You said you lived with love and hope. That you chose peace even when it meant your end. That moved us. That is worth fighting for. Thelios felt tears on his face. We thought peace made us weak. Peace is not weakness, Chen said. But peace must be protected. Your people learned that. You activated those satellites. You chose to fight when it mattered. Elder Mirith said it was the hardest decision of her life. We had sworn never to use violence. Violence is a tool, Chen said. Like any tool, it can be used for good or evil. You used it to protect innocent lives. There is no shame in that. They walked together through the hospital area. Human and Keltheran wounded lay side by side. Some would never fight again. Some would never walk again, but they were alive. Marcus Webb sat on a medical bed, his chest wrapped in bandages. 3 Keltheran children sat with him, listening as he told them a story. He saw Chen and smiled. Captain, he said, these kids wanted to hear about Earth. I was telling them about oceans. The children looked at Chen with wide eyes. Is it true? One asked. Your planet is covered in water? Chen smiled. 2/3 of the surface. Biggest ocean is the Pacific. So large you could fit this whole continent in it. The children gasped. We would like to see it someday. One said shyly. Then come visit, Chen said. Earth welcomes friends. They continued walking. Everywhere Thelios looked, he saw humans and Keltherans working together. Language barriers were overcome with gestures and patience. Human soldiers helped rebuild buildings. Keltheran scientists shared medical techniques. They were not strangers anymore. That evening, Elder Mirith called a gathering in what remained of the council plaza. Thousands of Keltherans came. All the surviving human warriors stood at attention, their armor polished, their faces solemn. Myreth stood before them all. Her voice carried through speakers across the city. We gathered to honor the fallen, she said. 333 human warriors came to our world. They did not know us. We had never met. But they heard our cry for help and they answered. She gestured to the names displayed on a massive screen. Every human who died was listed. Their names, their ages, their home cities on Earth. These warriors gave their lives so that we might live, Mirith continued. They fought with courage we did not think possible. They showed us that strength can be used to protect, that violence can defend peace, that strangers can become family through shared sacrifice. A Keltheran child stepped forward. She held a flower. one of the glowing blooms that grew in their gardens. She approached Captain Chen and held it out. "Thank you for saving my mother," the child said. Chen took the flower. Her hands trembled. "What is your name?" "Lyra." "It is an honor to meet you, Lyra. Your mother is lucky to have such a brave daughter." More Keltharans came forward. Each brought a flower. Soon every human warrior held an armful of glowing blooms. Some warriors cried. Some stood silent. All looked humbled. Elder Mireth spoke again. "We cannot bring back the fallen, but we can honor them. We will build a memorial in the heart of our rebuilt city. 333 statues, each one representing a warrior who fell defending us. And in the center, words in both our languages. They came from above, strangers from the stars, and taught us that courage is standing against fear. They faced doom so we might see tomorrow." The crowd erupted in approval. Humans and Keltharans together, their voices joined in grief and gratitude. Later, in a private meeting, Mireth sat with Chen and Thelios. "We wish to join your alliance," Mireth said. The Terran concorded. "We want to stand with humanity." Chen nodded slowly. "We would be honored. But you should know what that means. The Concordat is not just a trade agreement. We defend each other. If another race is attacked, we respond. You would be committing to help others the way we helped you." "We understand," Mireth said. "We have debated this for 3 days. Some of our people still fear violence. They want to return to pure pacifism." "And what do you think?" Chen asked. "I think there is a difference between seeking war and being ready to defend the innocent," Mireth said. "You taught us that. We will never be warriors like humans, but we can be defenders. We can be protectors. We can stand against evil even if it costs us," Thelios spoke up. "I volunteered to help establish a Keltharan defense force. We will train with human instructors, learn tactics and strategy, but we will do it with our values. We will only fight to protect, never to conquer," Chen smiled. "That is exactly what the galaxy needs. More defenders, more protectors." 1 year passed. The city was rebuilt, stronger than before. Gardens bloomed again. Crystal towers reached for the sky. But now defensive platforms orbited above. Keltharan warriors trained in military academies. They were not aggressive, but they were ready. In the central plaza stood the memorial. 333 statues of human warriors in combat poses. In the center, the inscription glowed with soft light. Keltharans visited every day, bringing flowers and prayers. Captain Chen returned for the dedication ceremony. She commanded a joint human Keltharan rapid response fleet now. The ship docked at the new orbital station bore both Earth's flag and Kelthara's symbol. Thelios met her at the landing pad. He wore a uniform now, not military armor like the humans, but a defender's outfit marking him as part of the protection forces. "You look good," Chen said. "I feel different," Thelios admitted, stronger, more aware of how precious life is. They walked to the memorial together. Thousands had gathered. The ceremony began with music from both cultures. A Keltharan choir sang alongside human veterans. When Chen stepped forward to speak, silence fell. 1 year ago, we came to a world we did not know to save people we had never met, she said. We did it because that is what we believe in. Protecting the innocent, standing against evil, being the shield for those who cannot defend themselves. She looked at the statues. These warriors died believing in that. They died so others could live. That is the greatest thing anyone can do. She turned to the crowd, but they did not die in vain. Look around. Humans and Keltharans working together, training together, ready to help others together. The fallen would be proud. After the ceremony, Chen prepared to leave. A new crisis had emerged. Another race was under attack. The joint fleet was needed. Stay safe, Thelios said. You too, Chen replied. Keep training. Keep building. The galaxy needs more people like the Kelthara. We learned from the best. Chen smiled. No, you were always brave. You just needed to see it. Sending that distress call took courage. Fighting alongside us took courage. Choosing to defend others takes courage. That was always in you. The fleet departed. But this time Keltharan ships went with them. Not many, just a few. But it was a start. Thelios watched them go. Warriors rising to meet danger. Protectors answering the call for help. Somewhere in the galaxy, someone was broadcasting a distress signal. Somewhere, people were facing doom. And this time, when they looked up, they would see both human and Keltharan warriors arriving from above.